Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet?
I love people as I meet them one by one. People are just wonderful as individuals. You see the whole...
My great aspiration, my greatest ambition is to be so good. Now, in that way, I'm tiresome, as I suppose, to live with, because I want to be a fantastic human being.
I am the greatest. We're not disputing that, Cassius, but how does Sonny Liston feel about it? He can't feel but one way, and let's take everything I say and like it. Because February the 25th, I'm going to take back my job. I'm the champ. He's no champ. He's a tramp.
When you see men fall, don't laugh. Learn. Learn. Because you're on your way up. And the things that tempt people to fall, you and I are not free from that temptation.
What's up, YouTube, Twitter, IG, the Rumble, wherever you at, man? What's up? What's the word? What's the word? What's the word? Talk to me nice. Glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. Hey, look, I hope all is well with everybody. We are reaching the halfway point of the week, you know what I'm saying? And it's an honor and privilege to still be here amongst the land of the living, to make our mistakes, to get our perspectives in order, to get our personal houses in order. I thank you all for being here. I'm just grateful for my poets, my writers, my content creators. I'm grateful for the viewership, for the interactions, for the comment section that chimes in every day, giving their perspective and their point of view on things. Whether or not we agree or disagree, we can still have discussions up here without it becoming ignorant. Always, always, always a humbling experience. Some of you are familiar with this channel. Some of you aren't. Do me a solid. If you are new here, pull up, grab a seat, get comfortable. If you have any discussions, topics, anything that you see us in the future speak on, email me, send me a private message. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. I have an awesome panel up here. Shout out to Rob. I know Rob's somewhere doing his thing right now, hustling. Salutes to you. Salutes to Jason. Salutes to Sydney, who's in the building right now. I did a video on this one like a week ago, but I knew I was going to spend a block on it because I wanted to get the perspectives from the panel on this. Specifically, I wanted to hear a woman says, this is a separate clip from the one that I originally made. If you are on YouTube, go check it out. I want to bring up Sydney. I'm gonna let her introduce herself. If you have any questions, any comments, any concerns throughout the stream, feel free to message. Do me a solid also, like, share, repost, let the people know that we on. This is grown folk talk. No children are prohibited to be here. Everything is transparent on the table. Outside of that, let's just try to have a good Discord. I have something I'm gonna play here in a second, but let me bring Sydney up. Let them know where you are, anything that you want to get off your chest. Peace and blessings to you, ma'am.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good.
No
Happy
Jason
to be
tonight?
back. I see Jason just pulled in. I'm gonna wait till I see him. I see him. Hold on a second.
I just I was like,
yeah,
Jason's not here. And suddenly he appears. I must be magical.
Must be. That's the only explanation. By the way, Sydney, that picture you shared was absolutely hilarious. Or the video.
Rest in peace to King.
Right? Was it? It reminded me very. I saw it literally the day after we did the discussion on those types of people. So I was like, wow, this is so fitting.
It was hilarious.
I got one for us, but we got a couple faces in here that might not be familiar with the channel, might not be familiar with you or the lady of the hour. So I just wanted to give you and her a chance to kind of briefly just catch the people up with you. And we got yes, I see you. How you doing over there?
Wonderful.
She's saying
Very nice.
1 and 2 because that's their characters. 2 blocks and 1 block.
Okay. You want to kick us off with a little?
Sorry.
No, you good.
I first of all want to say thank you for watching. My name is Sydney, and this is Denali. I will try to mute her while I'm talking. I am oh my gosh, I'm a writer and a poet. I also have my bachelor's degree in psych and my master's in environmental education. I love to talk about all things science, all things culture, psychology, education. I love children, as you can tell. So I'm excited to see what the topic is today. Other than that, I thought this was cool. I thought it was an Aurora Borealis, but it wasn't. But I still thought it was pretty cool. There's a stadium that's putting up colors in the sky for Lent, and it looked really cool this morning. Yeah.
I should send you some pictures that I've taken of the Aurora Borealis. It's absolutely phenomenal. We get up here, we get actually really good colors, especially when during the stronger flares. So my name is Jason Matthews. I am a published author as well as a behavior analyst and a developmental psychologist. I wrote a book called The Leading Man, a practical guide for men to lead with strength and vision. And most recently, I've been working as a there it is. I've been working as a leadership coach, and particularly working with organizations between the $500,000 to $5 million mark to help them create the systems necessary in order to become developmentally oriented, in order to help them progress and scale in a way that incorporates all members of their team rather than just putting all of the responsibility on them as leaders.
Thank you for being here with us, you and Sydney. Between the three of us, I know this is going to be diagnosed and broken down pretty well. I will segue into the video because I know actually the entirety is probably an hour. I don't have that. I have the parts that they specifically took out. So for those of you that are watching, I did a reaction video to a interview that Bhad Bhabie had done on a cooking segment, and she confessed to being inappropriately handled by adults. And not only that, she alluded to dating and dealing with guys that were 10, 20 years her seniors. So I thought, let's get into what I think is probably the problem and the cause for a lot of young developing adults getting into these habits of wanting to date older and having like, I'm your superior or I'm your equal because I've had this type of experience. When you're introduced to it and groomed by someone, I thought that this would be a perfect way to kind of figure out something. Like I'm still kind of speechless about it, you know. The video that I'm going to play here in a second, it kind of puts a celebrity artist on the spotlight. She cuts herself off before she actually owns up to saying, oh, he was messing with me when I was 16. She stops herself mid saying it. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play that video. And initial thoughts afterwards on any of it, and we'll go from there. I see somebody in the comment section. Hold on. Let me get over there to the comment section real quick. I don't want nobody to think that I don't see them. All right, Greg, I see you, bro. At SM, I'm gonna come back to your comment in a second. I want to play this video real quick. Like this is some real creepy shit. Real creepy shit. And I just did a stream earlier about a school. I guess I bring that back up too. I might as well. Hold on. Let me go down here. Taking me a minute. It's taking me a minute.
Did y'all see Bhad Bhabie's new? You got molested? Not there, but in life, twice. So you used to date Sosa. What was that like? I'm asking because he's from Chicago.
I wouldn't call it. We wasn't like me and Levine. Like I just used to go over there and hang out, get fucked, hang out. I'm a real ass bitch. Like you know what it is. I remember one time he was like, I got an 8 bitch over here, but I still call you over here. And I was like, oh, you been having every bitch over here? Like I was like 6.
Yeah, So you just be swapping them out?
Yeah. But I ain't swapping the video. It's been 2 years.
That's not a long time. Talking about swapping them out. This is around the time you start swapping, about the 2-year mark.
No, I swap after like a month. I be tired.
How long did y'all fuck around for?
4 years.
That's a long time. That was your man. You ex.
I got with somebody else and then left them for him.
Oh my God. Whoa.
Me first or Mel first? I don't even, I'm still trying to gather my thoughts.
Where do you want to go with this, Mel? What do you want to tackle first?
Yeah. Let me. All right. So there's a couple of things here. When I first watched her on the talk show with Dr. Phil, I can't remember. She was like 14, 15 or something like that. But she was still a baby. She still to me is a baby. And on there, you could tell that she was very ruly or unruly. You could tell that her and her mom didn't have the type of mother-daughter relationship that you would typically see an adult have with a child, from my own perspective. And I always wondered how Dr. Phil thought that he, with all of his experience, could reach her or get through to her. One, because this is national TV. You got 100,000 people watching you. You're already setting yourself up for some pushback. You're not going to get the type of answers or the type of intimate conversation that you would get in a private setting when there's no cameras on. This is for show. This is for the display of the people and then to get viewership. To me, that's how I looked at it. Anytime someone got on TV and they were disrespectful to the parents, or they were sassy and they had smart mouths, I never took it serious. You fast forward, she becomes an OnlyFans model. She makes millions off of it within years. And it's from old men, it's from perverts and guys that wear toupees. They're fat, they're out of shape, they don't climb stairs or nothing. They sit in their basement, they scroll social media looking for the next prey, so et cetera, et cetera. All of these things I'm looking at and I'm thinking like, damn, I could see why she would be screwed up, but why is she really, really screwed up? And then you get this video where she confesses that she was inappropriately touched when she was younger. And because of that, she is dealing with guys that are way older than her. The folks that are celebrities that you listen to are dealing with her that should have gone to jail. And here we are. And I wanted to bring this up not just because of her specifically, it's because this is not just her that this happens to. This happens to a number of boys and girls. We all have probably known someone or could tell a story about this happening somewhere. The story that I did earlier is about a board of education getting confronted about over 100 tapes coming out of girls in the locker room changing. Security footage or security found these videos the parents learned of it. One confront the board. They tried to escape and leave the gym. All of this was in the gym. And like the perversion, that's where I'm at. Yeah, please pass a few of those out as well.
If you're not gonna share, you can't have any at all.
How did we get here?
Won't go through the camera. Can I convert it to a PDF?
Sorry. I didn't mean to derail the conversation.
So, City man, you being a mother, a woman in general, I don't know how much you know about her history, but based on what you've seen here and what you know about her and just everything surrounding this, how do you feel about this story? I mean, her confessing and speaking out on it, between her attitude and her choices and going into that field of work and just all of it.
I did look into her history. I was very curious, and I found it interesting that she was raised by I don't know, it doesn't really specify whether they were if they were devout or not, but they were Catholic parents. And they brought her to Dr. Phil because she had been like threatening to take their car or something like that, and was threatening the parents and stuff like that. So for her to be that young and have those behaviors, especially, I don't know what her home life was like. I don't know what her parents were like. But just from my assumption of what being raised by general Catholic parents would be, I would imagine that she might have been felt like she was being controlled, or like maybe her parents weren't as open to like letting her do things. So then she basically not rebounded. She became highly attention seeking and I'm totally blanking on the word. Oh my god, go away with that. Rejection of how her parents had treated her as a reaction. Oh my god, please. Go that way. Come here. From what I know about psychology, the fact that she went into the particular trade, literally 6 hours after she turned 18, tells me that there's something underlying where she is broken. She needs the attention. She needs the connection. She probably is used to or thrives, or strives for like a lot of parasocial relationships rather than just like actual deep, meaningful friendships. I do wonder how having her child is going to change her, because I've seen kind of like, I can't give percentages, but a majority or a percentage of women will change drastically. They'll have their child, and whether it's the hormones or their mental state or like just recognizing that they now have a human being to take care of, they radically change their life and become a phenomenal parent for their child. And then there's some people that see their child as an accessory and drag them along and do with the child what they want to do, and whatever they want to achieve by having that child, they'll use their child for those means. But I wonder what she will show herself to be. I also know she had a cancer diagnosis in October, November of 2024. So I also wonder how that will affect her behavior going into the future, because I'm from psychology again, people will act differently once they know that they have a disease like that can actually take your life. So it would be interesting to see how her behavior changes as we go into 2025, or as we continue into 2025, to see if any of those have an impact on her. But I also can't deny that a huge amount of her behavior is probably influenced by culture itself. It might not be as much of a impact on her. While there probably are things that are impacting her, I think a lot of it has to do with the culture that we're being raised in, the culture that encourages this type of behavior, that encourages this type of lifestyle, and promotes it as something like to look up to. So I think it's a combination of factors where she did probably have some traumas underlying, and she also probably has some stuff with her parents. I know she isn't on the best terms with them, and she recently also was pointing out that they had mental illnesses. So I don't know if she got it from them or was impacted by their behavior, or if she was maybe even possibly making it up. Like, we never know for sure. But yeah, I think there's a lot going on underneath than what she's showing people.
So I have a little bit of personal experience with this, both in my own life as well as witnessing how my wife's kids have developed. When I came to Canada, my wife's name is Heather. Her kids were 8 and 10, and very impressionable ages. And the younger, her daughter, was someone who was she was emotionally abandoned, especially by her father. And when you said mental illness, Sydney, that was a clue. To your point, Mel, when I see children and parents that have conflict on TV, my question automatically goes to, is this real or is this not? But there's a certain criteria that I look at to understand if it is real or not. How likely is it that this is staged? And you can tell, because if it's not something that happens all the time, it's really over the top. You can tell that it's acted because it is so far out of the norm. It goes outside even the norm of most arguing. My stepdaughter is 18 now, and she is a firecracker. She really enjoys, especially getting under her mother's skin, and loves being able to argue any chance that she can, and creating drama, being contrary, just all just kind of frustrating her to no end. And this is without any cameras present. And I can almost guarantee that the same thing would happen if she were in front of a camera. If they were in front of a camera, the dynamic would be there regardless. Because that's the dynamic of what they have. That tells me that there was no support. Well, when you're talking about this with Bhad Bhabie, it tells me that there is a lack of trust and support in that relationship. and it's an outcry for wanting some sort of direction, but also carrying deep resentment for the fact that there was none. She's carrying a wound of what she is needing, and then projecting that through her behavior. In this case, being seductive, and utilizing that as a way of trying to haphazardly get what she needs. And this is really just survival behavior. The fact that she says that she was inappropriately interacted with at a very young age, that adds to it, absolutely. Because now there is this sense of not knowing how to deal with the situation, no one to talk to, no one to unburden with, and having to navigate this alone. Which, it sucks. However you put that, however you look at it. And with her behavior of going to OnlyFans, it completely makes sense. She's looking for validation from others, especially men, because she has daddy issues. She has the desire of wanting to find a male influence that is going to be stabilizing for her. She probably had a mother who actually was either treating her like an accessory or saw her as a threat, and then created moments of competition between herself and her daughter. And that is so unhealthy. It's ridiculous. When you have a dynamic like that, where there is this sense of believing that your daughter is going to be a biological competitive person to your sexual needs, and you put that on your child, it is so unfair. And it means that you are not looking at her as your daughter, you're looking at her as a threat. And you can't nurture a threat. I dare you, unless you are like Jesus Christ, I dare you to nurture a threat. Turn the other cheek to such a level where you see your enemy as your best friend. Most people don't do that, especially someone who has the IQ of a can of tuna fish, who is now trying to raise a child. And then a father who did not give her the structure and the guidance that every child needs, and especially every daughter needs from her father. So now you've got someone who is in emotional pain, who is basically buried to the point where I'm going to self-soothe through going on OnlyFans and finding people who are 20 years my senior, 20 to 30 years my senior, in order to, at least for a brief time, escape into the notion, to the idea that this is what love really is. And that's the kind of behavior you have with Bhad Bhabie. And she's open about it because she's really looking for someone to get some kind of understanding with, have some kind of emotional understanding. We were motivated by two things: a core need and an emotional motivator. The core need is usually one of three things. It's either significance, it's assurance, or it's socialization. Significance is I'm important, assurance is I'm safe, socialization is I belong. But then there's the emotional motivator that we have. Why do we do what we do? We either want to be seen as someone who's in control, someone who's intelligent, or someone who is able to be emotionally connected with, someone that you can emotionally connect with. And I guarantee Bhad Bhabie, especially for the motivator, her motivation is sympathy, wanting that emotional connection, which she's not getting. and you wonder why she acts the way that she does, and you wonder why our daughters are acting the way that they are, and why our sons are then also behaving the way that they are. I yield the mic.
That would have been a perfect plug for your book.
Go to Amazon.com. Go to get the leading man.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no way that I would take someone who is sick and put them in front of a camera to have a conversation about your illness. Now, this type of sick doesn't mean that you're nausea prone or, you know, you need to go under the knife, because there's different versions of it. There's mental sickness, there's spiritual sickness. Anything that involves television, I don't take serious. I don't care if you say you have a degree or a doctorate. If you got teleprompters that cue you when to speak on something, when to take you to commercial, I don't take you serious. I don't think anyone should take that serious. So I'm not even taking a friend up there, let alone my child or my spouse, wife, or whatever. That's just a recipe for disaster. What you have here is someone who has seen things that they don't know how to get out of their head. You can't get rid of nightmares. You can't get rid of seeing horrendous things and just scrub it away with Mr. Clean, and then it's just gone like that. Some people will say, "Oh, just suck it up," and that doesn't work like that with everyone, especially children. When you're relying on this person that puts a roof over your head to be the superhero in your comic book, you're protecting them from the boogeyman, the monsters under the bed, the home invaders, the ones trying to crawl through the windows and the crevices of the property. When you're the shield and the thing that keeps the bubble around them, when the words of the world come in and tries to reshape and remold the way that they perceive themselves and how they look at life in general, and they don't have a reference to go back to and say, well, you said I'm ugly, you said I'm beautiful, even though you're 45 years old and I'm 12, but my mother said, or my father said, don't talk to strangers, work on going to school, getting good grades. I need to know your family. I need to know their friends. I need addresses. I need your location. You have a curfew. If this person says this to you, run the other way. When you don't have that, or you have fragments of it, yeah, there's going to be a recipe for a disaster. I agree with both of you. I agree with both of you on everything you said. I would rather her had grown up with a Sharpie and writing all over herself, rather than having a grown ass man from around the corner constantly going back and forth out people's properties, looking for who has the weakest infrastructure. I'm talking about your household. I'm talking about your home. I'm talking about the dynamics of the family. Is there a leader there? Is there someone there that can identify creeps? A grown-ass man or a woman scoping out your property, looking to see if there's any way that I can get inside of here and complete my objective. I think they were lacking in that area, in my honest opinion. You had a wolf, or you had multiple wolves surrounding. They saw what they had, and they took advantage of it. And they got away with it for as long as time allowed it to. And it changed her, just like it did a number of different people. And unfortunately, we're here. Is she crying out for help? Is she looking for that love and attention and affection through other men? Most likely. What I want to add to that too is these gentlemen that she's saying that were 30 and over the age limit, legally, morally, all that, they didn't care one way or another. They looked at her, they saw that she was broken. She saw that they just had something similar to what she's used to in her household, because clearly somebody in her household is the core cause for this. She identified it with other people, and nobody said to themselves, I can't take advantage of this little girl. I can't do this to her. Let me go ahead and correct her. Let me stop her. Nah, you didn't do that. What you did was you looked at her like she was a grown-ass woman, and you pursued her just like you would one of these online OnlyFans models, one of these chicks that's up here selling their body for $10 in a bag of Doritos. I yield the mic.
I bet you he used that gross line like, oh, but you're so mature. Like, it seems like if a woman or a child even shows an interest in that type of behavior, there are a lot of men that are willing to come in and take advantage of that. I think it's really icky when guys have that tendency. I'm like, you have no morals at all. Like, you can't go for somebody that's obviously your age. You really, really have to pick somebody that's like fresh out of high school. Like, seriously? I'm like, there's so many traits in a young 20-year-old that, oh God, my children today. They haven't even really finished developing yet. So there's a lot of traits in high school or like college students that are undesirable in a long-term relationship for the most part. Like, there are a few highly mature individuals, but there aren't very many of them nowadays. At least there's a lot more people that have really been coddled by their parents, and not many people these days at high school, college level are actually prepared to be in a long-term relationship. So and given all of her shortcomings and everything that she's been going through, I'm not surprised that she's ill prepared for this adult life, this adult life so far. I genuinely wonder how well she's going to manage getting that big chunk of money now with her OnlyFans. She got $1 million in the first hour. So I definitely wonder if she's going to be able to handle the maturity that it takes to have a lifestyle like that. I think that's something that a lot of people forget, is that the lifestyle comes with a lot of responsibilities. When you're wealthy, really wealthy, when you're making millions of dollars, it's not like your problems magically go away because you have a ton of money. Like, your problems increase now because you have a ton of money. Now you have to get like an account manager and a tax accountant and all sorts of other stuff. And also, because like with lifestyle creep, because your income is going up, you're more likely to be like, yeah, I can get that, I can buy that. And so you're going to be spending a lot more money once you become a millionaire, just subconsciously. And we've seen time and time again with all people of that age, they can't handle it. At that young of an age, they blow out all the money that they made because they're too young to understand and prioritize the savings.
So I make sure to avoid making sweeping statements like men do this or women do that, or this is a problem with men or whatever. And to Sydney's point, yes, there are some men that act this way, but there are also women. Because if we remember, there was that tutor who was tutoring that young gentleman who decided that she was going to engage in a sexual relationship with him. He was underage. She was married, and no fucks were given. So there's also that. So it's important to understand that this is a human problem. This is not just a gender problem. So another thing that I want to add is when we're talking about this kind of behavior, it's going to blow back eventually. It's just a matter of time. Something always happens to either correct the way that people are moving, or it destroys them. And well, actually, even the destruction is a way of correction. So there's only correction. Though the way always gets corrected, it all depends on how hard you have to be corrected, based on how much resistance you give. And what I mean by that is, regardless of what you're going through, regardless of how things are playing out, there's always going to be this ability to decide what you want to do next. And you can decide based on your past or your future. The past that you're running from, or the future that you're desiring, that you're moving towards. And there are some that can actually do both. They can use the past as a launching point, and the future as a future oriented, but that takes a specific kind of person. I've been reading a book called An Everyone Culture. And it's a book by, I don't remember the author offhand. Give me one sec. The book is by Matthew Miller. And it's called An Everyone Culture, Becoming a Deliberately Developmental Organization. And even though this is a business book, it also applies to people. And because it talks about how businesses actually have two roles. One is to work as a business, another is to develop people. And the ones that do this are the most successful. You look at Bridgewater, which is run by a gentleman by the name of Ray Dalio, who is a multi-billionaire. He runs a DDO, a deliberately developmental organization. And he makes sure that the people that he is, I was one of the same thing. He makes sure that everyone in his business, they are working towards bettering themselves. And in this book, it classifies people in 3 categories. You're either socially aligned, you are a self-author, or you're a self-transformation. Socially aligned are the ones that kind of just go through the motions. They do what they're supposed to do. They kind of like act within the social framework. And they really don't apply themselves or try to better themselves. They just kind of exist, you know? That's the kind of bad baby person is. That's the kind of person the Bhad Bhabie is. I swear I can speak English well. Then you've got the ones who are self-authoring. Self-authoring are the ones that really decide that they want to control where their future goes, what they want to experience based on the vision of where they're going. Like, where do I see myself in 5 years? And then authoring their life, making decisions that are going to move with that over time. And then you've got the self-transformational, and these are the ones that really are these are the kind of people that are really self-transcendent, really, because they're the ones that are seeking to not only better themselves, but better themselves in a way that's going to allow them to better others. And these are the diamonds in the rough, or these are the ones that have been well coached to become this kind of person. And it all depends on how you get there. But yeah, unless you are really deliberately becoming someone who is self-transformational, or you understand what you need to do in order to become self-authoring, your default is going to be a socially aligned. You're going to be drifting through life. And if you've ever read the book Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, you realize that drifting is one of the worst things that we can do, because you are working off hypnotic patterns that are just there without questioning and without seeking to develop yourself. And that's dangerous. I yield the mic.
That's actually the premise of one of my favorite books. It's a really interesting look into human psychology. The Stranger by Albert Camus. And it talks about a man that basically throughout his whole life, he just doesn't care enough to make any decisions for himself. So he just walks through life, letting things in life just happen to him. He doesn't have any, he doesn't do anything with it. He just lets it all happen to him. And so basically by the end of the book, spoiler alert, he ends up killing somebody because the sun was in his eye. And because of the way he led his life, he basically led himself to that point where he cared so little about humans that he just kind of like gave his life up to really stupid things. It's a very, I'm not doing it justice. It's a very, very fascinating story into the psyche of somebody. And there's a lot of psychology in it. It's really interesting. But it made me think of what you were saying, where if you just coast through life, if you don't give yourself, your body, your mind, the chance to understand what you innately value, because there's a lot of people that don't actually understand what they naturally want from themselves and from life and from other people. Every single person, as a part of our personality and existence, we have very different things that we want for ourselves, for the world, for our family, and all that. And if you don't have that introspection, it leads you to have a general sense of like unhappiness, of discontent, of feeling like you're not going in the right direction, that you aren't doing what you're supposed to be doing. And it will plague you if you continue to ignore it. A lot of people just think, oh, I just have to knuckle down and do what I have to do. But if you don't give yourself to think the chance to think about why you have the responses that you do to your environment, to people around you, to the things that you do and don't like, you'll never really understand your own underlying self. So many people follow what everyone else says to do. Like all these what do you call them, makeup gurus are like, I have my 13-step routine. I saw this from this influencer and this one from this influencer, so I put that into my routine, and my sister does that and my friend does that. And like, people basically pull pieces of everyone else onto themselves and saying that that is who they are. And when you lead that kind of aimless life where you don't really know who you are, you don't really know what you stand for, you don't know what you value, you're far more susceptible to make costly mistakes. Because if you don't know what you want, you're more likely to wastefully spend your money. If you don't know what you want, you're more likely to go down pursuits that don't actually do anything for you. You're more likely to hang out with people that don't actually match with your personality and your needs. You're more likely to get in a relationship that is not conducive to your growth and your existence. With her behavior, she very clearly hasn't had the opportunity to really sit down and consider everything about her. She doesn't seem to exhibit any sense of knowledge of how I don't know what she's like behind scenes, so maybe she does and is starting to develop this, but she doesn't seem to have a grasp of the underlying psychology behind her behaviors and why she feels the need to do these things. So I think that she would want to do more like self-exploration to kind of understand where these really wild behaviors are coming from, where all these negative habits and like where all the poor relationships stem from, because they all come from somewhere. Your poor decisions have a root somewhere else, and it's telling all of the collectively the bad decisions that you make will tell you what you're missing.
I read a post earlier today, and she said, and I quote, "I miss you. Of course you miss me. I was perfect. I didn't do anything wrong." I read posts like that and I think to myself, so you just don't take no accountability for anything whatsoever. You didn't play a role in the friendship suffering. You didn't play a role in the relationship ending. And look, I'm not saying that a person can be flawless as much as you can be in these spaces. Sometimes another person just isn't for you and they step out and they cross the barriers and they disrespect everything that y'all built. Sometimes you just can't predict that. You can go into something with all of the purest intentions whatsoever. It really doesn't make a difference. If that person is on an entirely different wave than you are, then there's nothing you can do about it. And it's not really your fault. In this case, who gets more of the blame? I look at the mother, and you say she was bipolar, and the father had some things going on with him as well. I don't know enough about their history. However, just being logical, and I got a sound mind, I have to look at this and say, damn, did I influence this? Was my lack thereof here create this? Did I mold this over time, not knowing that I was actually doing this? You can be around people, have a great personality, and rub off on somebody, or you could be a shitty person and rub off on somebody. It really just depends on the characteristics you carry and where the other person is in their own journey. Some people are more susceptible than others. Children are very impressionable, very impressionable. They think they know everything when they're teenagers. They swear they can cheat, they can beat you, outwit you, outthink you, they can outperform you. They are here and there with the things that they want, the things that they enjoy, the things that they need, and then we go back to the drawing board, start over, and then we experiment and then start over, and it's a whole lot. But I'm thinking about the mom and the dad, and I'm asking myself, did you really pay attention to what was going on in your house?
Her dad wasn't even
Did you really
present.
monitor her? Did you really?
It was just the mom.
There you go. That's another part to it. Then I'm thinking about this whole school thing that I was speaking on earlier. You telling me over 100 videos were recorded in this building of teenage girls undressing in a locker room. Nobody knows anything. Nobody got the hints that anything was happening. No one suspected anyone on the staff of anything. It was just quiet. It was just hush hush. Impossible.
Not really.
You can't monitor. I'm not saying you're psychic and you can watch every move a person make, but you have it within your power to know as much as you can know to mitigate that as much as you possibly can. So the mom dropped the ball here. Whoever involved with creating this absolutely should have been doing time. They're probably not doing time, but karma's going to catch up to them just like it does everybody else. The rapper or artist that she was speaking on that said he was doing things with her when she was 16, but she tried to stop herself from saying it out loud because she didn't want to get him in trouble. I'm not letting it go. And whoever else saw the video is not going to let it slide. Anyone who has a conscience is not letting it slide. I don't give a fuck if you are rich and famous or you're sleeping on a sidewalk. What you participated in further created the problem that is with her now. And the hardest.
The fact that the mom hasn't done anything. Like, if you just found out that somebody had slept with your daughter when she was underage, it doesn't matter what age the daughter is. I feel like the mom, if she like cared about her daughter, she would come after the guy. Like, what were you doing? Like, why would you do that to my daughter? And would be beside herself. But
this speaks to the disorganized nature of bipolar disorder. And when medicated, there are many side effects to many of the medications that are offered. Lithium, in particular, which is the main medication offered for bipolar, as well as some schizophrenic cases, it has the effect of dulling the mind, and it takes away almost the emotional fire that comes with personality, because it creates an evenness. It creates kind of like this baseline of the highs and lows become much less. So a person's reaction isn't going to be as high as it would be. That would rise to an emotional reaction that would cause motivated response. And so the likelihood of actually taking action is much lower because of the there are so many things that people don't consider when they make snap judgments. When they think about what people should do or what they would do in the situation, you have no idea what you would do in the situation because you aren't in it. And I take issue with that because no one knows what they would really do in that situation unless they were in that situation. And if they don't know how it affects someone or how everyone involved is acting, because remember, circumstances include the dynamic of everyone involved. Everyone's actions are playing out in real time when you take into account circumstances, including yours, and the actions of those that are acting on you or acting upon you, whatever. There's so much going on that to say that it should be this way, unless you have the facts that prove that it was just out of complete negligence, not stupidity, just complete negligence, why something happened. There's no possibility for you to say how one thing should happen or not. It's more of the idea that I can see how things might happen this way, but because I wasn't there, because I wasn't the one who had to make that decision, I wasn't the one who experienced the thing, it's impossible for one person to say one way or the other whether something was supposed to, whether something should have happened or not. What we do know is how things actually played out. And all we can do is comment on the way things actually played out, understanding that it's the only way it could have played out because it did. And any kind of hypothesizing, supposing, or otherwise is absolutely useless and does not provide any value whatsoever.
That was interesting. I never would have considered the medication would have that effect on her. That's interesting.
Well, that's one of the things about antipsychotic medication is that it dulls the highs and the lows, especially for bipolar, because it's manic and it's severe depression. So you go extremely high and you go extremely low. And what lithium does is it creates a baseline, so the highs and lows, while they still might be there, are dramatically reduced. And a person who doesn't know how to cope with that is going to feel a little deadened. And if they are craving the kind of excitement or the kind of experiences that come from those highs and lows, they're going to feel like something's robbed. Especially when you have someone who is who has gone their entire life without any kind of correction of being a self-serving type of person. I do have to get going.
I'm not knocking what you just said. Okay,
I'm going to wait for you to respond. I'm going to wait for you to respond, though, because I want to hear what you have to say.
What I was going to say pretty much was the person is too doped up to really have any type of reaction in the situation. I could be off. I just think you're heartless, or you. I just can't. Nah, you're right. It's one of those things where stuff just plays out the way it happens all the time, everywhere. It's things that happen we wish didn't happen the way they happen, but they do. Some people are the intercessors. Some people don't have it in them to jump in and make the things happen to protect people. That's just the way it is, unfortunately. So I stand corrected on where I was going with that. It's hard for me to believe that anyone could not care about something that intimate happening to one of their loved ones and they don't have no type of reactions. Or I was with Sydney on that. Like, how do you not call the police or like, I mean, come on, nothing. So it's just nothing. And we're just here and we just have to accept that that happened. And she is the way she is. And the rest of these children out here that's getting groomed and in these spots with these adults, I guess we're supposed to just chalk it up to it is what it is.
Remember, there's only five
That's
things
all
that you can control. There's only 5 things you can control: your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, your decisions, and your actions. Everything else is beyond your control.
I appreciate your feedback, man. I know you got to go, so I'm gonna let you up out of here, man. It's always good to see you up here, bro. Thank you for your feedback,
Likewise.
man. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Good seeing you again.
Sydney, was good seeing you too. Later, guys.
Magic.
Later.
I actually, it's interesting because what he said. I've
Is
just
there like
read,
is there anything that you kind of want to close out with on this, or like I know we at the ending portion of the show, so I just want to give you a space to speak if you want to.
Yeah. Just to add on to what he was saying and kind of answer a question that you were saying. The thing with the medication, ironically, I can understand that quite deeply because in the last couple months, I've been put on a different medication for my seizure disorder, and it also has an effect on my like ADHD, impulsivity. I have bipolar myself. And so it has an effect on those behaviors. And I've been noticing in the past couple weeks that my passion, my writing like has dulled. Like I used to get like ideas and I'd be able to like write really quickly, and I've noticed that has slowed down significantly, and it's been making me like question the medication. But anyways, that's related to what she was experiencing, what she could be experiencing, the mother, where she's having this medication, she just might feel that like her thoughts are coming slower, her like she's just not as like when you have that disorder, your mind can go like really quickly, like you're watching a sped up video. And so taking that medication can like bring the speed back down. And so that I could definitely see that being a factor. I could also see it being she just doesn't care. Or like her daughter talked her out of it or something. Like, oh, mom, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'm 18 now. It doesn't matter.
Right. And that's what I was going to get to, because it's like you took her to Dr. Phil. You put her on national TV. So how much of the drug really had an effect on you? I'm not taking nobody to national TV for help. You really think you're going to get help? Like, come on, man. I know we want to live young forever. We're common sense. You're not going on no social media platform like that and you're going to get someone giving you Jason level therapy or advice or Sydney level advice, or that is not going to happen. They're going to go with the cue card. So, how was your upbringing? Did you play with the kids in the neighborhood? How much did you eat when you were younger? Did you have snacks? Did they lock you away in the room? It's going to be stupid shit like that. It's not going to be no real, like, I don't know. But I mean, it could be a combination of all of it. It's just unfortunate. Now, I don't make fun of people who suffer indirectly because of the sins of someone else. Like a lot of this stuff that we develop and we carry into our future came from something that somebody else did to us. So it's like, how can you really point the finger and blame somebody or judge somebody when like you're not perfect either? Now she survived cancer, and that's a blessing. A lot of my loved ones didn't come back from it, and they were some fighters. So I hope and pray at some point something gets through to her and she can beat this, because a lot of people fall short and they don't recover from the type of damage that this trauma does to a person. And those are my final thoughts on that specifically. I think it was dope to have different personalities on this subject. Jason, as usual, he did his thing. I'm sorry I couldn't, at the time, I couldn't highlight any of the comments because things were kind of moving slow over here on my end. So I didn't want to kind of mess that up. But I can show some of them real quick. Shout outs to Greg, shout outs to SM for tapping in. I appreciate everybody who repost you all for just engaging with us on this tonight's show. Me and Sydney will be back tomorrow, same time, same place. We are about to get up out of here. Happy hump day, because tomorrow's Wednesday. Enjoy your evening. If you need to get in contact with me, you know I'm on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Rumble. Same name, same place.
I'm on Blue Sky.
Let's rap. Let's share ideas. Let's network. Y'all be your plug.
Sorry, did you say something? You're kind of cut off.
No, I was saying, go ahead and do your plug.
Okay. If you guys want to find me,
let them know what.
My main social media site is Blue Sky. I'm the Science Squid Poetry on there. And then if you want to see my poetry, I have my poetry up on All Poetry as well as Write Scene. And then, yeah, if you ever are interested, on Wednesdays, that's my topic day. If you guys are ever interested in scientific topics, history topics, or things relating to what's happening today, let us know, and I'd be happy to cover anything that you guys are interested in.
And that being said, if you hadn't did it yet, do me a solid. If you would, it would be most appreciated. Y'all be easy. I see y'all tomorrow.